The Arctic, a vast and icy realm at the top of our planet, might seem like a distant and desolate place. Its expansive white landscape stretch as far as the eye can see, creating a serene yet formidable environment. The sheer scale and beauty of this frozen wilderness are both awe-inspiring and humbling. However, this frozen wonderland plays a vital role in the Earth's delicate climate system. The Arctic acts as a global thermostat, influencing weather patterns and ocean currents that affect climates around the world. Its presence is crucial in maintaining the balance of our planet's ecosystems. Covered in ice and snow for most of the year, the Arctic reflects sunlight back into space, helping to regulate global temperatures. This reflective quality, known as albedo, is essential in preventing the Earth from overheating. Without the Arctic's icy shield, our planet would absorb more heat, leading to drastic changes in climate. It is home to unique and fragile ecosystems, supporting a diverse array of wildlife, from polar bears, which are iconic symbols of the Arctic's wild beauty, and walruses, with their distinctive tusks and social behavior, to seals that navigate the icy waters with grace, and migratory birds that travel thousands of miles to breed and feed in this pristine environment. Each species plays a critical role in the Arctic's complex web of life. The Arctic is also home to indigenous communities who have lived in harmony with this frozen environment for centuries, relying on its resources for their livelihoods and cultural identity. These communities have developed unique ways of life, deeply connected to the rhythms of the Arctic seasons and the wildlife they share their home with. Beyond its ecological significance, the Arctic holds immense cultural and scientific value. The traditions and knowledge of indigenous peoples offer invaluable insights into sustainable living in extreme conditions. Meanwhile, scientists from around the world are drawn to the Arctic to study its unique features and gather data that can help us understand broader environmental changes. Its icy depths hold clues to Earth's past climate, providing valuable insights into the planet's history and the potential impacts of climate change. By analyzing ice cores, scientists can uncover records of atmospheric composition, temperature fluctuations, and even volcanic eruptions from thousands of years ago. The Arctic also serves as a barometer for the health of our planet, with changes in its environment serving as early warning signs of broader global shifts. The rapid melting of ice and the warming of Arctic waters are indicators of the urgent need to address climate change on a global scale. However, this frozen wilderness is facing unprecedented challenges. The impacts of human activity, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, are accelerating the rate of change in the Arctic, threatening its delicate balance. Climate change is warming the Arctic at twice the rate of the rest of the planet, causing the ice that covers the Arctic Ocean to melt at an alarming rate. This rapid ice loss not only affects local wildlife and communities, but also has far-reaching consequences for global sea levels and weather patterns. This melting ice has profound implications for the Arctic's delicate ecosystem, its inhabitants, and the global climate system as a whole. As the ice retreats, it disrupts the habitats of species that depend on it, leading to shifts in population dynamics and increased competition for resources. The fate of the Arctic is intertwined with our own, and understanding the changes taking place in this remote region is crucial for safeguarding the future of our planet. By studying the Arctic, we can gain insights into the mechanisms of climate change and develop strategies to mitigate its impacts, ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. The Arctic is undergoing a dramatic transformation, with its once pristine environment facing unprecedented changes. This region, known for its breathtaking beauty and unique ecosystems, is now at the forefront of climate change. The Arctic's icy landscapes, which have remained relatively stable for thousands of years, are now experiencing rapid and alarming shifts. The region is warming at an alarming rate, with temperatures rising twice as fast as the global average. This phenomenon, often referred to as Arctic amplification, is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our planet's climate systems. The rising temperatures are not just numbers on a graph, they represent a profound change in the Arctic's environment, affecting everything from weather patterns to wildlife habitats. This rapid warming is causing widespread melting of sea ice, glaciers, and permafrost, transforming the Arctic landscape and disrupting its delicate balance. The once solid and reliable ice is now giving way to open water and unstable ground, creating challenges for both the natural world and human activities in the region. The transformation is so significant that it can be observed from space, with satellite images showing dramatic reductions in ice cover. The most visible sign of change is the shrinking sea ice cover. Sea ice acts as a reflective barrier, bouncing sunlight back into space and helping to regulate the Earth's temperature. As it diminishes, the darker ocean water absorbs more heat, further accelerating the warming process. This feedback loop is a critical factor in the rapid changes we are witnessing in the Arctic. Sea ice, the frozen seawater that blankets the Arctic Ocean, plays a crucial role in regulating global climate and supporting Arctic ecosystems. It serves as a platform for marine mammals like polar bears and seals, which rely on the ice for hunting and breeding. The loss of sea ice not only threatens these species but also disrupts the entire Arctic food web, from tiny plankton to large predators. It reflects sunlight back into space, helping to keep the planet cool, and provides a vital hunting and breeding ground for iconic Arctic species like polar bears and seals. These animals are uniquely adapted to the harsh Arctic environment, but their survival is now at risk as their habitat disappears. The decline in sea ice is forcing polar bears to swim longer distances to find food, leading to increased mortality rates and declining populations. However, the extent and thickness of Arctic sea ice have been declining steadily over the past few decades, reaching record lows in recent years. This trend is not just a seasonal variation, but a long-term shift that has profound implications for the global climate system. The thinning ice is more susceptible to breaking up and melting, further accelerating the loss of this critical component of the Arctic environment. The melting of glaciers and ice sheets on land is another major concern. These massive ice formations, which have taken millennia to build up, are now retreating at an unprecedented rate. The loss of glaciers not only contributes to sea level rise, but also affects freshwater supplies for communities that depend on glacial meltwater. As temperatures rise, glaciers are retreating at an accelerating pace, dumping vast quantities of fresh water into the ocean and contributing to global sea level rise. This influx of fresh water can disrupt ocean currents and weather patterns, with far-reaching effects on global climate. Coastal communities around the world are already feeling the impact, with increased flooding and erosion threatening homes and infrastructure. The Greenland ice sheet, the second largest ice sheet in the world, is particularly vulnerable to warming, and its melting could have catastrophic consequences for coastal communities worldwide. If the entire Greenland ice sheet were to melt, it would raise global sea levels by more than 20 feet, inundating major cities and displacing millions of people. The current rate of melting is a clear warning that we must take urgent action to mitigate climate change. The thawing of permafrost, a layer of permanently frozen ground that underlies much of the Arctic, is yet another alarming trend. Permafrost acts as a natural carbon storage, locking away vast amounts of organic material that, when thawed, decomposes and releases greenhouse gases. The thawing of permafrost is not only a symptom of climate change but also a driver of further warming. Permafrost contains vast amounts of organic matter, which, when thawed, releases methane and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, further amplifying global warming. Methane is a particularly potent greenhouse gas, with a much greater heat-trapping ability than carbon dioxide. The release of these gases from thawing permafrost creates a feedback loop that accelerates climate change, making it even more challenging to control. The thawing of permafrost also poses risks to infrastructure as the ground becomes unstable, leading to damage to buildings, roads, and pipelines. In many Arctic communities, traditional ways of life are being disrupted as the landscape changes. The cost of repairing and adapting infrastructure to cope with these changes is enormous, placing additional strain on already vulnerable populations. The challenges faced by the Arctic are a stark reminder of the urgent need for global action to address climate change. The Arctic, often perceived as a remote and desolate region, might seem irrelevant to our daily lives. However, this icy expanse is far more connected to our world than we might think. However, the dramatic changes occurring in this icy realm have far-reaching consequences that affect us all. The Arctic is warming at twice the rate of the rest of the planet, leading to unprecedented ice melt. The melting of Arctic ice is not just an environmental issue, it is a global crisis with profound implications for our planet and future generations. The ice acts as a reflective shield, bouncing sunlight back into space. As it melts, darker ocean waters absorb more heat, accelerating global warming. One of the most pressing concerns is the impact of melting ice on global sea levels. Rising sea levels are not a distant threat, they are happening now and will continue to escalate. As glaciers and ice sheets melt at an accelerating rate, they release vast amounts of fresh water into the ocean, causing sea levels to rise. This process is not only continuous but also accelerating, posing a significant threat to coastal regions. This rise in sea level threatens coastal communities worldwide, increasing the risk of flooding, erosion, and displacement of millions of people. Cities like Miami, New York, and Tokyo are already experiencing the early effects of this phenomenon. The melting of Arctic ice also disrupts ocean currents, which play a vital role in regulating global climate patterns. These currents are responsible for distributing heat around the planet, and any disruption can have severe consequences. The influx of fresh water from melting glaciers and ice sheets alters the salinity and temperature of ocean water, affecting the circulation of these currents. This can lead to a cascade of changes in weather patterns, impacting agriculture, water supply, and even the stability of ecosystems. These changes can lead to more extreme weather events, such as heat waves, droughts, and floods in different parts of the world. The increased frequency and intensity of these events can have devastating effects on communities, economies, and natural habitats. Furthermore, the loss of Arctic sea ice has significant implications for wildlife. The Arctic is home to unique species that have adapted to its harsh conditions over millennia. Iconic Arctic species like polar bears, walruses, and seals rely on sea ice for hunting, breeding, and raising their young. The loss of this critical habitat threatens their survival and disrupts the delicate balance of the Arctic ecosystem. As sea ice diminishes, these animals are losing their habitat, forcing them to venture further inland in search of food and putting them at risk of starvation and conflict with humans. This not only endangers the animals, but also poses challenges for human communities living in these regions. Addressing the issue of melting Arctic ice requires global cooperation and immediate action. Efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, transition to renewable energy sources, and protect vulnerable ecosystems are crucial. International agreements like the Paris Accord aim to limit global temperature rise and mitigate the impacts of climate change. However, these efforts must be intensified and supported by all nations to be effective. On a local level, communities and individuals can also make a difference. Simple actions like reducing energy consumption, supporting sustainable practices, and raising awareness about climate change can contribute to a larger impact. By understanding the importance of the Arctic and taking steps to protect it, we can help ensure a healthier planet for future generations. The melting ice is a wake-up call, urging us to act now before it's too late.